Welcome everyone. You're watching Kings of Cricket. I'm Shivani Gupta. 2003, 2023. It's two finals in the ODI World Cup against Australia and it's two losses for Team India. It just wasn't to be. It was a clash between an unstoppable force and an immovable object. But the immovable object that is Australia, especially in a World Cup final, did stop the unstoppable force that was India during this World Cup campaign. It was 10 wins on a trot for India to enter the World Cup final, but it has been a journey that has ended in heartbreak yet again. Remember, this is also another opportunity that has gone aslip. India remaining ICC trophy less for 10 years and more now. Their last ICC trophy came in 2013, which was the Champions Trophy. Australia comfortably chasing the smallish target of 241 that was set by India by 6 wickets. The men in blue were possibly 40 runs short, but what a tremendous century by Travis Head. He has really come good for Australia. He has joined the likes of Ponting and many others from Australia and Sri Lanka to score a winning century in a World Cup final. And Pat Cummins really has done it for Australia. He's joined the likes of Alan Border, Steve Waugh and Ricky Ponting to lift a World Cup trophy. So he's also in August company. Let's go across to our guests who are joining us. Ayaz Memon, Mohindra Manath, Murli Kartik, Graham Swan and of course Venki will also be with us. Jimmy Paji, not to be today. No repeat of 1983 today.
Yeah, it's rather sad, but I would say they've tried their best. But I think if you see this match, especially, I think all credit should be given to Australia.
Yes.
The way they bowled, the way they fielded, the way they batted actually. So when you look at the scorecard, it's like Travis Head versus the entire Indian team.
Yeah.
Because the way he batted, the conditions were not really very easy to bat on. But as I said earlier, he's the guy who takes the attack to the opposition, and his areas where he likes bowler to bowl, when they keep on bowling, then he's very comfortable. It took some risk and all that, but he kept scoring runs and all that, so keep the pressure away. So I think one big partnership, can make all the difference.
Yeah, it was that one big partnership that was possibly missing for India, Swanee. But that one big partnership did come for Australia. They were also down 3 wickets very quickly. It could have gone either ways from there. But Travis Head and Labuschagne coming together. Labuschagne also getting his half century in a big final today.
Yeah, absolutely. When you lose early wickets and you're setting a total, it's often very hard to pace the innings. You lose wickets as you try and get the scoring rate going. But when you're chasing, when you know what you're chasing, that worked out perfectly for Australia, for Labuschagne especially. He basically just played it like a test match and batted really well, got 50 not out. But you have to take your hat off. And this pains me to say this, of course, as an Englishman, but you have to take your hats off to Australia. But Travis Head in particular, when David Warner got out, we were doing cartwheels. When Steve Smith got out, honestly, with the England lads here, we were loving it. But then Travis Head, he's just been one of the best players in world cricket for the last couple of years, and he showed why. That was a brilliant 100. To get a big 100 in a World Cup final, to win the trophy in someone else's backyard as well, in India's backyard. Yeah, you have to take your hat off. It pains me to say it, but on the day, Australia were the better team and actually deserved it today. Overall, throughout the tournament, India were the better team, but today when it mattered, it was Australia.
Yeah. And Murli Kartik, this is why Australia is so dangerous, isn't it? This is why nobody really wants to face them, especially in a World Cup final match.
Yeah, 100%. They've got the pedigree, they've got the lineage, they've got
the
mindset, they've got a track record to boast of. And sometimes they draw from all these things. Just look at the way they came back. Just think of what happened in South Africa. They had a hammering, they came to India, they lost that series. And there were so many things which were being asked about everybody. Everybody said, can Head be replaced? Who's going to come in his place? And then Head comes in and he gets a knock in the very first game. Imagine the likes of Stoinis and Cameron Green sitting out. And just the way they came back. Nobody would have given them a chance at, 97 for 5 or whatever with 200 runs to go. And then Maxwell comes out with an innings like that. They pull through a game against South Africa and they have actually done an India to India today. Just the way they stifled us and then the way they've knocked the runs. I think India had one bad game, so to say, if you have to think of it in a bad way. and it happened to be the finals against one of the most mentally strongest teams in the world. They've always been called hard as nails. There's a reason they are called hard as nails, and they've proven once again that they are the side to beat. Come what may, whatever the situation, you cannot discount or count Australia.
Absolutely, never. And this is, of course, their record 6th ODI World Cup title. This time they've done it in India. This is going to be one for the ages as well, especially, Venki, given the fact that Australia had to, kind of scrape through some of their matches. And of course, that Maxwell show, possibly against Afghanistan, was the turning point for them. Even after that, even the semi-final against South Africa wasn't the easiest of wins. But, they've just proven why they're world champions and one champion mentality.
Absolutely. Character, we've been talking about the character, and they did show the character in that game against Afghanistan, especially the Maxwell show where he got a double 100. And yeah, you have to keep looking for inspiration within your team. And I think probably Maxwell did provide that inspiration, and they started believing in themselves. Today, I'm not saying that India played badly. It's Australia who played better than India, as simple as that. I think throughout the tournament, it's India who are far, far better than any other side. They couldn't do anything. I mean, I did mention this in the beginning of the show earlier, saying that it's going to get better because of the pitch gets better. It becomes slightly more easier to bat. So nothing was happening when they were bowling.
Yes,
they did try everything, and it was the bounce was not. There was not much of bounce. The bounces that they were trying, it was a pretty it was not really going fast or not carrying much. And the slower ones are not gripping that much. There was not much of turn as far as the spinners were concerned. So they did try everything. I guess probably the only difference in this game was the Australian fielding. They stopped 20 runs, and they converted catches. So probably they would have scored. They would be chasing somewhere around 270, 280. If not for their fielding, as simple as that. It is just their fielding was the difference. And I think the Indians have done their best. The Indian team has done their best. They've given everything. And I think they need to keep their heads high, even if they have lost the finals.
No, it was a great campaign for them. But before I talk about the Indian campaign, a word about Pat Cummins as well. Joining some August company, the likes of Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh, they sure know how to pick their captains, isn't it? Oh. And he's actually delivered both as a captain and, of course, as a bowler and a batsman in this World Cup campaign. And today he was absolutely flawless, winning the toss, electing to bowl first against maybe what most people would have thought. His team made it count. He had a contribution to give. The way he was switching around his bowlers, never let anybody from the Indian batting lineup settle down. Of course, fielding, Venki has mentioned. And then the batsman came good as well.
Yeah, I think Pat Cummins, if you look at Australia, you had a spectacular knock in the final, a century. David Warner's made runs. Adam Zampar's taken wickets. The fast bowlers have come good. But if you have to pick a player, and Glenn Maxwell has made those 2 fantastic hundreds. But if you look at Pat Cummins' contribution, they may not seem monumental in terms of runs scored or the number of wickets taken. But every time there was a bit of a crisis and a crucial factor had to be, to influence them into the proceedings, he was there. Either picking up the wickets like he did today, 2 very early in the game.
Yeah. Iyer and Kohli, 2 big wickets.
Iyer and Kohli, and then the way he's batted in matches which went very tight for Afghanistan, for Australia. And don't forget, in the WTC final also, he made a major contribution. Travis Head, nemesis in chief against India. Yeah. A breathtaking century at the Oval in the WTC final. A spectacular century here. Little chancy, he took his, he took his chances and just blew India aside in this final.
We're talking about Pat Cummins, but a word about Rohit Sharma as well. Almost a near flawless campaign for the Indian team, and I think they can hold their heads very high given the cricket that they have played. And Rohit Sharma has also marshalled his team very well.
No, he has, but you always remember number 1, not number 2.
Yeah.
It's sad that they have lost. They played their best cricket. They tried their best, but things didn't work out today. And probably now one can talk about his dismissal when he was really going great guns, and maybe he played a little bit of faulty stroke, you can say, or probably he didn't time it. But what a catch, Trevor.
Travis Head took that
Yeah,
catch.
again, but it was totally his day, fielding, catches, runs, everything. But I think they played well as a unit. I don't, and they tried their best, and probably even 240 what was required, they tried their best. But you know, a situation like this, okay, now we can talk about it when your team loses and all that. See, when you have guys like Bumrah and Shami, as I was said, probably they will attack Shami because he is a tappa bowler. He bowls with line in one spot and all that thing. So Trevor Head actually took a chances against him. And when you're top order bowler, because you're relying heavily on Shami to provide you breakthrough and pick not 1 wicket, 2, 3, 4 wickets. So it didn't happen. And as Prashad said that there were not much of a turn available.
Yeah, so spinners
and the
didn't
Duke
come
came
into
into
the game.
play and all that. But I think credit should be given to Australia.
True.
The way they played, I think when they were bowling to Surya Yadav and all that, they were not bowling quick. They were bowling slow bounces.
Yes.
They knew that it would be difficult to hit and all those. So I think the planning went into this game was amazing.
No, even for Australia, there was a few trouble moments for them, isn't it? When they were 3 wickets down very quickly. I think India got the best start they could have hoped for. 40 for 3 for Australia. A lot was happening at that time. And Shami again, I think for the 5th time in, the 7 matches he's played, he's picked up a wicket in his very first over.
Yeah, that's why I said they did an India to India, because India has been doing that right through the tournament. They've had plans for every team. Even if there was somebody trying to get away, they were getting wickets back. And today, or when the chips were down, there was some batter who was contributing. And they've done that exactly to India today. Just as you rightly said, at 37 for 3, you can have a few nerves jangling in the dressing room. But just the way Travis said, look, Travis Head plays that way. He is entertaining because he takes his chances. He's not the conventional lazy elegance of a left-hander. He's very different. He backs away, he'll slap you over covers. And as Jimmy Pa has been saying, if you bowl his areas, he's going to hurt you. And that's exactly what he did. If you get him early, there were a few plays and misses. There were a few which could have gone onto his stumps when he was trying to play. So things can go the opposition's way, but today it was Travis Head all the way. And also again, all credit to Marnus Labuschagne. This is one of the reasons why he's been preferred over someone like Cameron Green and Marcus Stoinis, who also bowl. This is for exactly these reasons. A sticky situation like that, and you've got someone like Marnus Labuschagne who can work through the middle overs, play the spinners, and stitch together a partnership, soak in the pressure. And that's exactly what he did. So you have to give all the credit. And just a word on Rohit. I just hope that people don't nail him for getting out, because this is the way he's been batting.
And it
when
was
things were
working for
going
us.
well, when things were going well, everybody says.
That is what got you as
And
far
I
as you
just
did.
hope that people don't say, oh, it was his 47 and it was a reckless shot, because he played that way. We've been talking about the mindset. India went in with that mindset. Imagine running to someone like Josh Hazlewood, who dismissed you the last time, and hitting him over covers. Yes, a mistake was made and somebody took a brilliant catch. Things turned around.
I think it was very clear that that was his role, and they've talked about it.
You have to give a lot of credit to India for the entire campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Travis Head, not surprisingly, is the man of the match, and what a brilliant day he has had. He's going to remember this for a very long time, Graham. But overall, if you were to sum up the Australian performance, I mean, for them to also have this, 8 wins on a trot now, after their first 2 losses, everything came together for them. All the stuff that was working for India possibly unraveled for India. I think unraveled sounds a bit too severe. It wasn't that bad in the pits kind of a performance from India, but it was just short on the day against a side like Australia. But for Australia, everything came together and the momentum they built was absolutely flawless.
Well, absolutely. And when you look at their campaign, the way they've sort of snuck through a couple of games with like sort of mega performances by the likes of Maxwell and people like that, it's almost like when it gets to World Cups, like in football, as an Englishman, you don't want Germany to do well in the Football World Cup, and they always do. And in the cricket, you don't want Australia to do well, but they always do. They're a very, very hard as nails team, as Murali Kartik said. So they were just like a juggernaut. And on the day, I really, I've never felt more of an Indian fan than I was today. I feel like Newcastle United have lost a game of football here. I'm absolutely gutted. But you have to just, sometimes in a 2-horse race, one horse has to win. And it's such a shame for all those people in India, all those viewers you've got there will be heartbroken, and rightly so, because this Indian team have given an absolute wonderful account of themselves through the World Cup. And I'm absolutely with Murali Kartik. the way that Rohit Sharma batted in this game was magnificent again. He got them off to the exact sort of start that he did in the semi-final. The difference was this Australia lineup were able to keep chipping away, taking wickets, whereas New Zealand weren't, and it was just too much in the end. So I really feel for this Indian team because they've entertained and they've played brilliant cricket all along, and to fall at the final hurdle, so to speak, is heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching. But that man on the screen there, Travis Head, you've got to take your hat off. 2 or 3 years ago, no one in the world of cricket would barely heard of him, let alone think he'd be getting man of the match in a World Cup final. So it is a juggernaut. It's a production line in Australia. It just keeps churning out world-class players. And luckily for you in India, you're doing the same thing as well. So I've no doubt in 4 years' time you'll be coming back even stronger.
But it has to pinch, isn't it, Ayaz? I mean, the way the campaign was going, possibly the last World Cup campaign for a few players in this team. I mean, look, think about Shami, for example, ending as the highest wicket taker of the tournament. Virat Kohli, the highest run getter by a mile in this tournament. Rohit Sharma second to him. And yet you end up second. And as Jimmy Paji very rightly said, nobody remembers the also-rans.
And the trajectory and the momentum that the Indian team created in this, and the trajectory which it kind of traveled till the final. I mean, as I think Karthik mentioned, or Jimmy Pa, you had one bad game. Unfortunately, alas, it came in the final.
It's also kind of curious because you can't really call it a bad game.
I mean,
you're always held by your own standards.
Yes. Yes.
So, if Virat Kohli gets a 40 or a Sachin gets a 40, it's good for a Karthik, but not good for a Kohli. So 40 is great for me, but he's the first ranker in the class.
You're upstaged by a team which
fine
was
for me.
far better on the day. You know, the way the Aussies, and remember the Aussies were in a crisis while bowling. When Rohit Sharma was going bang bang against Hazelwood, you know, there was a threat to them that this guy, he could have snatched the game and run away with it.
But great strategizing from Australia.
Great fielding.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Head, and then, you know, to pull the team out of a crisis, you were struggling at 46. Smith gone.
Didn't take the review. And then if you lose a wicket at that stage, you know, I think Marnus Labuschagne, he's made the point that you needed a player like him, and Australia found that player. Not he hasn't been having a great World Cup, actually, otherwise.
But he's been chipping in with 30s and 40s.
Yeah, but you come good at the right time when the team needs
time.
And that's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need everybody to fire every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just need the odd guy to chip in with a few performances, an odd guy to have the big performance. You had Travis Head having the big performance with the bat, and others chipping around him and to chase down a
This is possibly what the remorse for the Indian team is going to be, that so many, all 11 players in good form, but on the day when it really mattered, you know, there wasn't that one match-winning performance today.
I mean, you know, the Aussies silenced our strong batting, you know, explosive batting lineup. And then, of course, they tamed the very potent attack that we've got, pace and spin. So you must give credit where it's due.
Absolutely, you know? Absolutely. But you know, Venki, Karthik very rightly mentioned, Australia did an India to us, because if you look at the 11, what India had been doing was that, you know, after the first power play, even in the middle overs from the 11th to the 40th, they were actually very, very strong. Picked up most wickets than any team at a better average and the best economy. But today, if you look at it, India got only 2 boundaries, I believe, between the 11th and the 40th. So Australia really did an India to us in the final.
Fair enough, but then the pitch was not so conducive to bat on in the first innings. So it was not easy to bat. It was not coming on to the bat. And it was, look, the semi-finals that India played against New Zealand was a different sort of a track where the ball was coming on, and that's one of the reasons why they kept on scoring, and they, you know, scored close to 400. So this pitch was completely different. And one of the reasons why I said it was not a bad idea to, you know, for Pat Cummins to choose to bowl first. So they had to take their time. Probably, as I said, they should have got another, say, about 20-30 runs, and they would have got it if not for their fielding. But otherwise, it is two outstanding teams that was competing in the finals. So one had to lose and one had to win. As simple as that. There is nothing much that you could, not much of a difference that you could see in these two teams.
But Venki, as we wrap up this World Cup campaign, what would you say is the highlight for the Indian team, something that they can carry forward now?
Well, I think they've played some fantastic cricket throughout this World Cup, and they've played as a unit. and everybody's role was clearly defined. I think going forward, I'm sure they're going to carry a lot of confidence into the other series. Yeah, I guess going forward we might miss say about a few players. I suppose this might be their last, last World Cup for a few players, I guess. But then definitely they're going to come stronger. There's no doubt about it.
I asked, how do you think it would be seen, just from a critical point of view, from a journalistic point of view, going trophyless again after a very good run this time?
No, I think, look, I mean, it will dawn on the players themselves that they were so close. It's like almost snatched away from their grasp, so to speak. No discredit to Australia. But I think there are some things that have emerged which are, which make the future more optimistic. One is the kind of a template that emerged in this, the way Rohit Sharma led from the front, not just as a captain,
but as
in showing the path as a batsman. And we've got richness of talent. I think what this World Cup, there's not one player who's really bombed. All the players have clicked. So the richness of talent, and there are so many players who can't be part of the squad because you can only have 15. So richness of talent is there. Role definition, which Venki's talked about, each one, what should be done. There are many more tournaments to come. There'll be more matches to be played. Each one will not be you won't be able to replicate exactly the same because
the opponents
vary, the pitches vary, players will vary, your own players. But there is a certain kind of pathway, which I think is a very dynamic route which this team has shown. Now, if you keep going that dynamic route, I think the team will do well more often than it will do badly.
Karthik, what do you think? What's the takeaway for India?
I think huge takeaways. Just the way they've played, the mindset that they have showcased right through the tournament, and the fact that everything fell into place for them. Whatever we might have been talking about, guys coming in and performing their roles, performing to the best of their ability. The only thing, if they have to take away something from today, is could they have done something better in the middle overs? Because they always knew that they were going in with those number of batters. Say, a situation like this did come about, which has come about before as well, could they have done something better? That is the only thing they will have to ruminate over, because it was a very different track. But again, when you are posed with certain challenges, there is a difference between the also-rans and the better side. So could India, which have been the best side, as he said, we literally trounced everybody, decimated people, could we have done anything in the middle overs to get that 30, 40 extra runs? Yeah. Because we always knew that you're going to be coming up against a resurgent, rejuvenated, strong Aussie side who have come back from behind to win 8 on the bounce. And you knew that their fielding was always going to be good. Then you known that the Australian side, after the first 2 games, the bowlers have all been hitting their straps. So that is the only thing that is, again,
that's going to play at the back of their minds,
and
maybe. The likes of Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, Sky.
And hindsight is a wonderful teacher, so that is the only thing they can think about.
Very quickly, what you can learn from the Aussies is, Australia struggled against New Zealand, just scraped through. Against Afghanistan, they turned,
it was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of a innings.
Against South Africa, they were in deep trouble. But they turned all those matches around and emerged victorious, maybe by the narrowest of margins. Now, that is something which India couldn't manage in this match.
True.
Yeah.
Jimmy Baji, you were man of the match for the 1983 final. Travis Head is the man of the match today, deservingly. It has to be special for a player to be able to do that for his team, isn't it, on the day?
Yes, I think it's all about winning at the end of the day. And definitely, I think he'll be a very happy man that he's played his part. But I think as a player, you feel nicer because you contribute something to the success of the team. And coming back to the topic, actually, that Australia and all that, the Indian batting, I don't think the wicket was that bad, to be very honest. I think the credit should be given to Australia from 30 to 50 overs. The way they bowled, the ball started doing a little bit reversing and all that. Then Pat, captain was changing the bowlers quite regularly. He wanted to finish those over quickly with spinners.
Correct.
And so they didn't allow Indian batsmen to really dominate at that time. Once they lost Kohli, and then the break started putting on them. So I think all credit should be given to Australia, the way they played. I think we have to learn from Australia the way they have played. It's not necessarily the favourite always win.
True.
It depends on the day, how you play, how you plan. And you just need one guy to take the game away from the other side. If somebody had batted till the end, like either KL Rahul or Virat, probably things would have been different.
Completely different.
And I think the credit should be given to Travis Head the way he batted. He didn't change his game. He was just going after the bowling and stick to his plans. And I think contribution-wise, when you win like man of the match, I think it's like, gives you a lot of satisfaction because probably it's your dream to go and perform at a big platform. There cannot be bigger place than
There
World
isn't
Cup.
a bigger platform than this.
Yes.
Well, it hasn't been the kind of end that India and Indian fans were hoping for, but certainly has been a great campaign that they can look forward from, take a lot of positives from, and it has been a great highlight for us here on CNN News 18. It's been an absolute pleasure of mine to have all of you guys throughout the coverage. A big thanks to Graham Swan, Venkatesh Prasad, Murli Karthik, Mohindra Banath and Ayaz Memon. And I do hope that our viewers also enjoyed the coverage. So close, yet too far for India. Again, maybe a few questions, maybe a few changes in store. We don't know how many changes will happen in the support staff or even in the ODI setup. But we'll have to wait 4 more years now to see if we can repeat the successes of 1983 and 2011. Don, thank you all of our guests for joining us. A big thanks to our viewers as well for watching. And many congratulations to Australia. Commiserations to Rohit Sharma and his team. Goodbye.